Howdy, this is Craig Grinning back again with an arena cutoff video for Marvel Contest of Champions. Today I cover round 1 results for the Sabretooth and Korg arenas, then jump into some round 2 predictions. So first, the results. For the most part, not totally unexpected results for Sabretooth and Korg this time around, with the 5-star feature coming in at 30.1 million, the 4-star feature Sabretooth at 5.5 million, and Korg coming in at the 4-star basic Korg coming in at 2.69 million. Now, compared to my actual predictions, was pretty much spot on with the 5-star and the 4-star feature arenas. Those were kind of very standard numbers that we've seen for old champs in the game, so kind of right on cue there. Was a little surprised with how low Korg went. There seemed to be a little bit more interest in him in terms of people wanting to kind of push his numbers higher. Really didn't even, with that 2.69 million cutoff, that's more kind of like mid-range, not a high interest, kind of like mid-interest kind of level. We've seen a lot of decent newer champs in the making their first run in the 4-star basic arena run into similar kind of results. Heimdall, even Wasp. So these are decent champs, including Korg, a really great defender. Even as a 4-star, pretty decent. So kind of surprised to see these numbers, but at the same time, not totally unheard of based off of the last couple months in arena grinding for first timers than 4-star basic. But anyway. So, yeah, this one was not within the 10%, not within the 5%. This is more kind of almost like 20% off, so, or maybe like 15% off. But anyway, it can happen from time to time. But let's not dwell on the past too much. Let's go ahead and move forward. So let's take a look at some trends for round 2, consider for round 2, starting first with the 5-star feature arena. You can see all the way over on the left, the Punisher 2099. He had a very similar first round cutoff at 30 million, jumped to 32 million. Mephisto had a 27, almost 28 million, jumped to 31 million in the second round. So they're very consistent for old champs, old feature champs that have recently come across, have had a jump in the second round when they've had even though that they had a similar number as we've seen with Sabretooth this time. And what's interesting, even with Dr. Octopus and Cyclops, who had much lower first round cutoffs, they too saw a jump in the second round. Now, when we take a look at the 4-star feature, very similar for the most part. There's a couple examples. Actually, there isn't an example where one's dropped over the last couple old champs. Most of them have all gone up a couple 100,000 between round 1 and round 2, regardless if they were kind of in that mid-range of 5.6 million or lower than 5 million, like the 4.8 of Dr. Octopus and the 4.9 of Cyclops. Regardless regardless of what the first round arena numbers were, the second round was always a couple 100,000 higher. So we've seen with both the 5-star and the 4-star feature, both of them are a couple units higher, regardless if it's a million, if it's the 5-star, a couple 100,000 if it's the 4-star. Now, when it comes to the 4-star basic, this is where it gets a little bit interesting for the most part. So when I was talking like Massacre, Wasp, Red Skull, Heimdall, for the most part, when these champs, this was their first time in the basic arena as well, they actually dropped in the second round. All of these were kind of in that 2 to 3 million range. They all dropped except Heimdall. Heimdall more recently went from 2.3 to 2.5. And what's interesting is I'm seeing similar kind of comments across the community for Heimdall. So a little bit taken back, surprised by that lower first round cutoff. Everybody happy about it for sure. But what happens most recently with Heimdall as an example, we've seen an increase between round 1 and round 2. Before that, Red Skull, Wasp, Massacre, when Wasp and Massacre were being decent champs, you actually didn't see that increase in round 1 between round 1 and round 2. Instead, you saw a close number, maybe 100,000 lower in the second round. So I'm going to kind of lean towards that Heimdall kind of side of things where you see a second round increase, but there's definitely been some examples here recently where the second round was lower than the first for the 4-star basic. And lastly, when it comes to the 3-star feature, the numbers are very similar. It's just above that last milestone of 640,000. 650 is usually what we see in the first round. Second round is very similar, but actually a little higher in most cases. That's what you see here from the graph. You're anywhere from 660,000 to 670,000. So it goes from 650 to 670 basically. So about a 10 to 20,000 increase between round 1 and round 2. So considering all of these trends, here are my thoughts for the round 2 predictions for the veterans bracket, meaning your account's been open for over 60 days. The 5-star Sabretooth, I think we're looking at 32 million, 5.7 million for the 4-star Sabretooth, 2.8 million, a little increase for that Korg 4-star basic arena, similar to that Heimdall arena, kind of like I was talking about recently, and then 670,000 for the 3-star feature Sabretooth. No, obviously this is not an exact science. I always like to give a grind target to give yourself a little buffer from where I think the cutoff's going to land. So if you're really wanting to get that 5-star Sabretooth, 34 million should make sure that happens. 6.5 million for the 4-star Sabretooth, 3 million, 3.1 million should be good for Korg, and then 700,000 for the 3-star feature Sabretooth. And again, these grind targets are for the veterans bracket as well. When it comes to the newer brackets, I just don't have a ton of data. There's not a place across the community where folks are reporting those results. So since these numbers, these trends I was sharing you were all kind of self-reported from the community, since Kabam doesn't release them yet anyway, it's very hard to get the intermediate and beginners numbers, just because no one's sharing those across the community. So this is just occasionally I'll get some information from the somebody from the who plays a game. Somebody in the community will drop in a comment line or something like that on my channel with the results for these earlier brackets. So just kind of, that's what this information is based off of, onesie twosie kinds of stories, not a lot of data here. So kind of keep that in mind. Beginners brackets, meaning your account's new to 30 days. 3-star feature Sabretooth, you're looking at 245. 4-star basic Korg, 1.1 mil. 4-star feature Sabretooth, 1 million. Now when it comes to the intermediate bracket, the 3-star feature, you're looking at 525. 4-star basic, 1.4 million. And for the 4-star feature Sabretooth, you're looking at 1 million. So anyway, these are my thoughts for the second round of the Sabretooth and Korg arenas. Would love to hear your opinion, especially if it's different. Would love to discuss that. Put it on in the comment section. We can discuss it there. If you have any questions, throw it on down in the comment section. We can discuss them there as well. Other than that, if you like this video, we really appreciate you clicking that thumbs up button. And if you like what you see on my channel and you haven't subscribed, really appreciate it if you would. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a great day.